to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and we made it. This is March 1st. Starts off as like a March Madness thing, but it goes on like for months. But this is March 1st, 2025. I'm doing another 128 character, A Song of Ice and Fire character tournament. Last year was the second one, but last year was the first time we did this much. The first time it was only 68 characters or 64 characters, and it was fun. But I didn't put as much work into it as last year. Last year was really big, and this year's going to be just as big, and I'm doing it a little differently. So if you don't know what's going on here, you should now. I just explained it all. My name is Taco, and I'm going to tell you right now, I have an extremely sore throat. I'm getting over something, and yeah, so if I'm not as loud as I normally am, I usually get complaints that I'm too loud. So don't complain that I'm Taco, you seem subdued. Yeah, but a lot of people tell me to subdue a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So let's just do it. So I'm going to be going over all 8 of the brackets right now. And yeah, so first things first, there will be no Arthur Dane. He won the first one and the second one. He won both two times in a row. And the last one, 2024, kind of being the biggest one that I've done, and that kind of the first one of these like huge ones, right? And I figure going forward, winners we can pull out because we want it interesting. We want a different outcome. And honestly, Arthur Dane, there's nothing I could have done to get rid of him. And I lost a chance. I lost my faith that I can actually make an interesting fight against Arthur Dane because I threw him into a really hardcore bracket and he fought nothing but really crazy hard fighters and he won every one of them. And it's not interesting to see these kind of stomps, although there's going to be stomps in this one too. And yeah, so that's the first thing. No Arthur Dane. And I did do a poll asking my audience, that's you guys, what's up, if you want Arthur Dane in it, and leaving him out won. So there we go. And then yeah, so let's just look at, so this is going to be the playoff bracket. So these are what the 8 different brackets are. So last year I did 16 brackets of 8, but now I'm doing it the other way around. I'm doing 8 brackets of 16. And also last year I did a bracket a week because it took 7 days to do a bracket of 8, right? And then each week we got a winner that went into the playoffs of 16. That is not what we're going to be doing this year. And again, I asked in a poll. So what we'll be doing is going through all 16 or all 8, sorry, of these 16 character brackets all at once. So round 1 will cover every one. And then I'm literally doing every round 1. So going through all the matches, the first round matches of Rebels, then moving right on to Legends, Modern Legends, Monsters, Big Guys and Gals, Knights of Summer and Tourneys, Soiled Knights and Killers, and then just random, right? So I'm going to be going through all their round 1s and then all their round 2s. That being said, I don't know how many update videos. I tried to do one for every week last year. I don't see that happening this year. I'm also really busy right now. I'm not too busy to do the bracket, but too busy to just kind of add an extra video for me to do each week for multiple reasons. I don't need to get into it, but kid on the way. Kid's going to be born before this tournament's over. Kid's not born yet, but before. So I'm going to be doing all that stuff, like having a new kid. Not me personally, my wife. During the bracket. So I didn't want to overload myself and make promises like, I'll be doing an extra video every week. Okay. All right. So before we look at every individual bracket, I'm going to tell you right now, this wasn't easy. Deciding which characters are going to which brackets, it was a lot harder than you would think. Okay. So please keep that in mind going through the entire tournament. I know I'm going to get comments. Oh, why is this guy in this bracket? He's not a modern legend, whatever. Why is this dude not? It was really difficult to pick. Like, Specifically, I had to do a poll of if people think that Gregor Clegane should have stayed in big guys or move over to monsters, and the poll said move him over to monsters, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. So there's definitely, I'm not even 100% happy, but this is the way that it had happened. And then for matchups, some matchups are a little goofy, but yeah, again, not as easy as it looks to kind of put them completely everything compelling together. I try to make individual fights as compelling as possible, but sometimes I have a square peg and he has to go against a round hole, and the matchup doesn't make sense, but that's just the two characters I had left, right? So, yeah. Anyways, so we're going to start looking at the Rebels bracket, and then we're going to move on. So starting with the Rebels bracket, you got Daemon Blackfire. This is going to be our first match. So, it's all starting tomorrow, March 1st, right? So starting March 1st, you're going to be seeing this, and I'll be doing every match at 7 a.m. Central Time, and that's it. So I'm going to release the next match every single day. So it's going to be a match a day until we're done. So, yeah. So the first one you're going to see 7 a.m. on March 1st, Saturday, March 1st, is Daemon Blackfire versus Melee Blackfire. So, yeah, Blackfire versus Blackfire. And then Black Tom Heddle versus Quentin Fireball Ball, right? Kind of like that one. It's like the Black Tom's kind of like the really good fighter who's supporting Daemon the Second Blackfire during the Second Blackfire Rebellion, and Quentin Fireball Ball's like the really good fighter who's supporting the first Daemon, right? And then you got Gorman, who also is kind of the fireball role, but then you got Gorman Peak versus Roger Rain. And then Lionel, the Laughing Storm Baratheon, yes, he was a rebel, versus Aegon, the Uncrowned Targaryen, yes, also a rebel, even though he definitely was the person who the throne was rightfully his. If you look at the annals of history, his fight against Maegor is considered a rebellion. So, yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun to put him here. So, Aegon the Uncrowned Targaryen versus Lionel Laughing Storm. Poor Aegon, huh? John Connington versus Aegor Rivers. Again, they're just kind of like the main supporters of a rebellion. And then Robert Baratheon. I do consider Robert's Rebellion a rebellion. It's called Robert's Rebellion versus Hugh Hammer. There's nothing that connects them there except for they're both huge dudes with hammers. Robb Stark versus Dagon Greyjoy. Both are kind of young fighters. And then Daemon the Second versus Daemon Morgan. Daemon Morgan's probably one of the only characters here that isn't involved in a Blackfire or otherwise Targaryen or Greyjoy rebellion. He's here because he was part of the Faith Militant Uprising, so which I do consider a rebellion. So yeah, it's cool to just put a warrior son in here. But very, very interesting. All right, so now we're going to go with legends. So in order to be legend, of course, you have to be very famous for how strong you were, and also you have to be dead before the start of the books, right? Keep that in mind. That's what separates, because modern legends, I named them modern, right? Yeah, modern legends, the character might not be alive during right now, like currently in the books, but they were at the start, right? So that's why I didn't put them in legends. I put it in modern legends. Is why I didn't name modern legends living legends. All right, legends. Ryan Redwine, who was a huge omission last year, so I got him in this year. Ryan Redwine versus Gerald Hightower, just two Lord Commanders of the Kingsguard, legendary fighters. And then Jonquil Dark versus Orys Baratheon. That's just ones that happened. And then Aemon the Dragon Knight versus Eric Cargill. Rhaegar Targaryen versus Daeron the First Targaryen. Like I said, Rhaegar was dead before the time of the books. It's not super far back, but yeah, versus Daeron the Young Dragon, who's absolutely a legend. And then Visenya. I didn't have Visenya last time, and I kind of screwed that up because Visenya is a heck of a fighter with Dark Sister and stuff. So yeah, as in the sister wife of Aegon the Conqueror. So I got Visenya in here this time. And Argilac Durandon is who she's going up against. And then Bloody Ben Blackwood versus Savage Sam Tarley. I love that fight. That is a low-key banger. Watch out for it. And then Cregan Stark versus the Red Kraken Dalton Greyjoy. And then Aegon the Conqueror versus Jaehaerys the First Targaryen. So you got Aegon versus Jaehaerys. I'm excited. Jaehaerys is a much better fighter than a lot of people give him credit for. I don't think he's going to get that kind of recognition here. But I literally just made a short, or I'm making a short today about a guy who is quoted saying to Jaehaerys, like, when Jaehaerys like, how am I doing? And he goes, well, you ain't no Kingsguard, but if Maegor were to rise from his grave and challenge you, I put my money on you. I don't know if I'd go that far because Maegor the Cruel is a heck of a fighter. But according to this dude, he thought that he could beat Maegor. But of course, he's telling the king that. So maybe he's just a lickspittle. But anyways, the point I'm getting at is people from that day thought that Jaehaerys was a pretty good fighter. And every fight that we actually see Jaehaerys get into, he wins. I'm just saying, I don't think he's going to go as far as I would put him in this bracket. But yeah, we'll see. All right, so moving on to modern legends. Jaime Lannister is first. Jaime Lannister right against Barristan. I know. I know people are gonna get mad about that one, but I really wanted that fight right away. And there they are. And then you got Brendan Blackfish versus Oberyn Martell. This one's stacked. Mance Rayder versus Corran Halfhand. Is that not awesome? Like, literally, there isn't a fight here that I don't love. Bronze Jan Royce versus Roderick Cassell. I did have to stretch a little bit on who would be considered a modern legend, but I did my best. Pretty much anyone who their reputation precedes them, right? Because then I got Areo Hota, and I don't know if I would go so far to say that Areo Hota is a modern legend, but a lot of people, he's renowned, like his reputation precedes him about how good of a fighter he is, versus Jason Mallister. Will be going against Areo Hota. And then Andric the Unsmiling versus Victorian Greyjoy. That's right. That's our Ironborn fight there. Garland Tyrell versus Gerald Darkstar Dane. Heck yeah. And then Tytos Blackwood versus Randall Tarley. So yeah, not too shabby. I really like modern legends. I know I'm gonna get crap for Jaime Lannister versus Barristan, but it kind of just worked out that way. I wanted them to be put next to pretty much anyone you put next to Jaime or anyone you put next to Barristan is going to be a stomp. And I didn't want to stomp. So I thought, well, put them next to each other. Only one of them can get out of that bracket anyways, right? So they're going to be fighting eventually. Why throw two losers at them so losers can be completely slaughtered? Why not have some good fighters there? So, yeah. I don't know. I always get criticism for how I put them together, but it is what it is. So the final one of that half, right? Yeah, Monster John at the bottom. Yeah. So the final one of this half. So the fourth one is monsters. So yeah, these are just disgusting freaks. Anyone that I like don't meet him in a dark alley is kind of who I put. I also have a bracket later for killers, and killers are more, heartless, like, oh, they'll kill anybody, but they're not like monsters, right? Like monsters, like they're just gonna they don't need to be provoked. People in this one will, they don't need a reason to just kill somebody or worse. When killers is more like, you'll see my point later on, but I put soiled knights and killers in their own thing and monsters in there. Oh, and up here. So yeah, we're starting off with Shagwell, the killer jester, up against the Weeper. I love the Weeper. I love Shagwell too. I'm okay with either of those guys getting wins. And then we got the Smiling Knight versus Gregor the Mountain Clegane. They do say that the Smiling Knight was the mountain of his day, so we'll see. The Smiling Knight did really good last year. And yeah, I can't wait for him to go up against the mountain. And then Clayton Suggs, no one else cares about Clayton Suggs, but I put him in for me. I love Clayton Suggs. I will always put Clayton Suggs into as many videos as I can because he's a secret Targaryen versus Ramsay Bolton. So these are both just two nasty killers or monsters, right? And then Amory Lorch, one of Tywin's dogs, versus Biter. And then Rorge up here, Biter's best friend, they're besties, versus Maegor the Cruel. Poor Rorge. But he had to be somewhere here. So yeah, Maegor the Cruel had to be in here somewhere, right? So then you got Elfin Crow Killer, who, man, he's probably one of the least known I got in here, but I'm making a video for him soon. But I was just looking at Elfin Crow Killer, and I don't know, he's pretty sick. So I think he fit as monsters. Versus Kago Corpse Killer. Plus, I like that they both have C-word name killer, right? Corpse Killer, Crow Killer. I thought that was cool. And then so Elfin versus Kago. Kago's got a Valyrian steel Aurak, so Kago's pretty great. And then Zolo, the guy who chopped the hand off of Jaime Lannister, versus Godry Farring the Giant Slayer. And then Rattleshirt versus Raff the Sweetling. Probably the least monster out of any of these guys is Godry Farring the Giant Slayer, but Godry's still pretty awful. He's really into lighting people on fire like Clayton Suggs is. So he had to go somewhere. So I got him in there. For Zolo. And then, Rattleshirt, as in the Lord of Bones versus Raff the Sweetling. Raff is, just did a video for him not too long ago and felt like I needed a shower after that one. All right, let's get away from these monsters and go these kind of monsters, right? So, Gregor was going to be in this one, but I moved him. So starting off great here, no pun intended, the Great John Umber versus Harwin Strong. Heck yeah, let's go. I'm super excited for that. Small Paul versus Iron Emmett. Iron Emmett's a little dark horse. Not a lot of people are going to know Iron Emmett, but he is, I think he's pretty great. Up at the wall, huge, really good fire. And Small Paul was huge. He passed away. I do love Small Paul. And then Sandok the Shadow versus Strong Belwas. Is Strong Belwas giant? No. But he's still Strong Belwas. I still think of him as a big guy, whether it's kind of like chubby, big. But a lot of people bring up that his height isn't like nuts. But he's still, when I think of Strong Belwas, I think of him as being a big dude, right? And then Sandok is a monster, right? Is like 7 feet tall. And I like them because they have a lot of parallels. They're both fighters from the fighting pit that have worked their way up to pretty much being the Queen's Guard, right? Because Sandok is the personal guard for a later queen, the wife of Viserys the First. Not while he's a king, but yeah. But anyways, if you don't know Sandok definitely, if he doesn't make it out of big guys, I think he's definitely going to win this one, in my opinion. But there is, of course, other huge characters in here, so we will see. But I have Sandok winning the entire tournament. I'm going to say right now, I think he got robbed last year, and I think he deserved to win that one, and I think he deserves to win this one. But we'll see. We shall see. Archibald Ironwood, good old Green Guts Archie versus Lucas Long Inch Inchfield. Just because he fights against Duncan the Tall, a lot of people forget that Long Inch is huge. He's super tall and puts a pretty good fight up against Sir Duncan. I don't know if he's going to beat Archie, but he might. All right, then don't be confused by his name because we got Small John, who's actually not small. He's also really big, going up against Duncan the Tall. Duncan the Tall's a fan favorite. He always does really good in these tourneys, and I see that happening again. I don't see him not doing really good. So I think Sandok's biggest worry is Sir Duncan getting onto this side. So yeah, getting out of this bracket. And then Shega, son of Dolph, and Brienne of Tarth. That's going to be really good. And then moving on, we got Gren up at the wall again versus Hostine Frey. And then finally, Otho, the Brute of Bracken. So we do got Bracken representation in here, by the way, versus Lyle Craig Hall, the Strong Boar. The Brood of Bracken versus Stromboar. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. When I put it together, I giggled a little. That's a good fight. It's a low-key banger. Just like Bloody Ben versus Savage Sam. That's a low-key banger. Stromboar versus Brood of Bracken. It's a low-key banger. All right. Moving on to Knights of Summer and Tourneys. So yeah, a lot of these guys I just didn't have a place for because we know about them. We know they can fight. But like I said, you normally see them in tourneys, right? So essentially it's going to be tourney knights that I can put anywhere else and the entire Rainbow Guard. Not the entire Rainbow Guard, but a lot of them. All right. Knights of Summer and Tourneys. So starting right off with Loris Tyrell versus Glendon Flowers or Ball. So this is the possible bastard of Quentin Fireball. So this is Glendon Flowers. We don't know if that's actually his dad, but he goes by Glendon Ball. Although, yeah, that's why I got it. Yeah. Anyways, you guys know what's going on. Yeah, it'll be a fun little fight. I think Glendon's also much better than people give him credit for. Balon Swan versus Parman Crane, and then Heil Hunt versus Mark Mullador. Ooh, come on, guys. That's delightful. The dude with the monkey versus Heil Hunt. I mean, none of these guys, a lot of these guys are not going to like go on to win the entire tourney, but you got to give them some love. Harry the Air Harding versus Vardis Egan. That's just some Vale fight going on there. And then Robar Royce versus Ammon Coy. Robar is low-key super good, so look out for Robar. And then Bryce Karen versus Aaron Santagar. Then Uthor Underleaf versus Humphrey Harding. Uthor was the dude with the snail on his sigil that beat Duncan the Tall at the joust. Fun to put him in here. And then Humphrey Harding was also around during the tourney dash for Meadow. And then Stefan Fossaway versus Valar Targaryen. Yeah, snuck another Targaryen in there. Yeah. I'm sure this is probably the weaker of the brackets, but hey, just because people are solid mid-carders or low-carders, it doesn't mean that you don't let them have a couple tourney fights. And a lot of times a lot of the booking, since I'm the booker, right? Keep going with wrestling words. A lot of things about booking is, so what if there's no character in the fight that's gonna be able to be a contender and go on forever? The fight itself's interesting, or just having them in there is interesting, or just reminding people that Uthor Underleaf exists, right? And also just forcing people to re-engage with these characters is kind of half the fun, right? So people are like, well, Bryce Karen. It's like, look him up. Check it out. All right. So now we're going on to our Soiled Knights and Killers. This is a good category. All right. This is a good category. It's a Soiled Knights and Killers. So starting right off with Simon Toyne of the Kingswood Brotherhood versus Lucamore Strong. Yeah. Simon could have been in Rebels, but I pulled him out, put him in Soiled Knights. Just because I didn't want to have him and Smiling. No, I guess Smiling Knight was in Monsters. I can't remember why I pulled Simon Toyne out of Rebels. Maybe I didn't really consider the Kingswood Brotherhood a rebellion because they're just outlaws. I think that's why I did it. But yeah, Simon Toyne, Lucamore the Lusty, who I've now made 2 videos for, and then Jorah Mormont versus Ares Oakheart. See, there's some really good contenders in here. I think Jorah got robbed last time. The trash talk to Jorah Mormont, treating him like he's like not top tier when he so is top tier. I was kind of really upset about it last year. And then Kristen Cole versus Lynn Corbray. Okay, talk about low-key good fights. This is another one where Kristen Cole is way better than anyone gives him credit for. I put him at the tippity top of good, right? And he got, like, I can't remember who he got washed by, but he got washed last year. He was in the Kingsguard bracket, so there was a lot of really powerful, really strong guys. And also there was Arthur Dane in that one, so no one was getting out. But yeah, versus Lynn Corbray. So this could go anyway, because Lynn is, again, huge fan favorite. And a really scary dude. He's got a Valyrian steel sword versus Kristen Cole. Man, that's a good fight. And then a Roland Storm versus Braun. I tell you guys, I keep saying low key, but low key, Soil Knights and Killers, really strong bracket. I'm just saying. I had to throw in a Kettle Black, so I picked one. Osmond Kettle Black versus Richard Horp. Richard Horp is like the epitome of this bracket because Stannis talks about him like, dude, Richard just loves killing. He's a killer. Just watch out. Same with Roland Storm, where that's like something that Cersei says about him, like he's a seasoned killer. He's got seasoning on him, is what she said. So yeah, she said that guy has salt and pepper and saffron on him, and he'll kill you. Those are direct words. But yeah, Osmond Kettle Black, Richard Horp. I'm just always happy to release Richard Horp into a bracket. And then Daemon Targaryen. Yep, that's right. The Rogue Prince himself. Versus Daemon Sand. I guess I just wanted two Daemons, and I do love Daemon Sand, who's also a really good fighter in his own right. But yeah, Daemon Targaryen's just got to get released somewhere in this bracket. And then Sandor the Hound Clegane, the face of this bracket. He is the killer. He's not a monster, but he is a killer. The Hound. And then versus Darian Naharis. That's a good match. And then finally, Luthor Apple Eater Brune himself versus Mandan Dead Eyes Moore. Yeah, dude, this bracket's like, ooh, there's some good stuff. And then now we just got random people who I couldn't really find a spot for, or I just wanted to put them in the kind of give other people spots in the other brackets, so I just toss them in a random instead. But yeah, it's a fun one. Khal Drogo versus Beric Dondarrion. Yeah, random. I did not try to put any thought into putting these ones together because I want to keep the whole random vibe up. Beric Dondarrion versus Khal Drogo, and then Thoros Amir versus Raleigh Duckfield. Jon Snow versus Dagmar Cleftjaw. Poor Jon Snow. I don't think he'll win that one. Kraz, who was a pit fighter with a mohawk, versus Shadrick the Mad Mouse. God, I would love Shadrick to win. I would. I think the Mad Mouse is scarier than a lot of people give him credit for. And then Lemon Cloak versus Adam Marbrand. Tormund Giantsbane versus Flemmet Brax, the face of this bracket. That's why I put the Brax sigil. Man, what if Flemmet makes a run? Good old Flem. And then Braxton Beesbury versus Baelor Breakspear. So that is Stinger himself versus Baelor Breakspear. It was really hard to put Baelor in here, but yeah, I did. I figured out a spot. Although I do have a rematch that's really close. Oops, I screwed up. I got Ilan Payne versus Maekar Targaryen. So yeah, I guess we kind of know who wins that match. Oh man, I did so good, but the last two matches, I think I might have to switch that up, huh? Yep, I think I do. Do I need to refilm this entire video? No, I don't think I'm going to. I think right now in front of you guys, I'm going to have to move Maekar away from Baelor Breakspear. They can be in the same bracket, but they can't fight each other right away. So I think I'm going to take Maekar and switch him with Shadrick. What do you guys think? You like that? Well, let's take one little look. Yeah, let's flip Maekar and Shadrick the Mad Mouse. I can literally do that as we're talking. So that's hilarious that I screwed that up. So yeah. Here, I'll do it when we're done talking. But yeah, I'll change Shadrick the Mad Mouse with Maekar. Flip them. So there's the bracket. I went over this to make sure I wouldn't have a mess up like that, and I still did. This is really hard. I've been working on this bracket since while we were still working on the last one. While we were still going through the last one, I was already making notes for this one of characters that I missed and other things like that. So yeah, I hope you guys are excited. There's no Arthur Dane, but who do you got? Do you think this is Aemon the Dragon Knight's year? Do you think this is Sandok the Shadow's year? Do you think this is Jaime freaking Lannister with 2 hands, his year? Or do you got some weird, dark horse, or Martell's not a dark horse, but he did really good at both years. I don't know. What do you guys got? This can go a lot of ways. I hope you're as excited as I am. Sorry about that one typo here. But it wouldn't be a taco video if I didn't make a mistake, because I make a lot. So yeah, there you guys go. Click like, subscribe, starting tomorrow morning. So be there and vote. If you are unhappy with results and you didn't vote, well, that's your fault. Share it, vote, comment, try to sway people. Last year, this tournament was it was my favorite thing I've ever done on this channel. And I do a lot of fun stuff on this channel. What's up? But yeah, the amount of people that came out of the woodwork to comment every single day and to talk every single day. I've met a lot of new subscribers. A lot of people found out about my channel through the tournament. So yeah, I'm really excited. And we're switching it up enough that I think we're going to keep it different and fresh. But at the same time, we're still kind of keeping a lot of the same spirit. So instead of 8 or 16 brackets of 8, we're doing 8 brackets of 16. And we're doing it all at once, and we're trying to keep at least all the initial matchups different than last year's. And I tried not to put anyone next to each other. I failed once. That have fought before, and I mean in the show, like we know who wins between A and B because we see it in the books. That's what I meant, books, not show. But I screwed up. Baelor Brickster versus Maekar. Although that wasn't Maekar who killed him. That was actually Brendan Rivers warging into him. All right. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow. Vote, vote, vote. And are you excited for tournament season? I know I am. Peace.